Alright, so I've got this Datsun L20b that I'm going to chuck in my 521 pickup. I'm putting these twin Weber carburetors onto a redline manifold, and I found it a little bit difficult to find details on the internet of how all of this gets hooked up. Mainly where to get vacuum from and what all of these holes in the manifold are for. Firstly, vacuum for your distributor comes from the Weber itself. This little screw here blocks off the vacuum port, and nipples to attach a vacuum hose are pretty hard to come by, so I have fashioned my own using the existing nut, drilling a hole out and soldering in a piece of copper tube. This is actually a really easy thing to make if you have a MAP gas torch and some solder. It then simply screws into that port, and I've added a little Loctite to make sure it doesn't come out. These Weber carburetors are not actually Webers, they're a Chinese rip-off, but they're very cheap and I wanted to give them a go. I'll leave a list of all of the parts I've used in the description below so you can check everything out. Next is the port on the manifold itself that is closest to the engine. This is actually a line for coolant, and that line comes from below the intake ports and originally ducted through your old intake manifold. The Weber one actually only allows for one to come through, and most guys block that off completely, but I like the idea of keeping the flow going back to where it should be, as intended by the manufacturer. The redline manifold came with the pipe and adapter to fit this all together. Then this top inlet is for vacuum for your vacuum brake assist if you need one. Lastly is your PCV setup. I'm planning on routing from my valve cover to a catch can and filter and into this side port where I have installed the original Datsun PCV valve, and the original block breather port will just go to a filter. Hopefully this explains all of the ports and openings in your manifold for your twin carburetors if you're doing any jobs like this.